Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you had a nice weekend. This week we are going to focus on learning how to use form and value. So form and value are two of the elements of design. We're going to be talking about these elements throughout the semester and the quarter. They're really important because they're like the foundations of drawing. They're basically the tools you use to make art. So I'm going to break this lesson up into many little videos, and today's video we're just going to learn a little bit about value. Value is lightness and darkness in a picture, and I hope you have a chance to watch the little videos I attach to each lesson. So you should watch the video on value and the elements of design for Monday. So after you watch the videos, I want you to practice some value. If you have a blending stick, that's awesome, but if you don't, you can use a Q-tip or your finger to blend and gradate your value. If you only have a wooden number 2 pencil, that's perfect, that's all you need. But if you have a 6B pencil, this is even better because this will allow you to get darker value. Value is lightness and darkness in a picture, just like I said, like in a drawing. By using a range of light and dark, we create an illusion of roundness and depth. And that's what middle school kids and people in general just like to see in their work. As we get older, we want our work to look more realistic. So I'm going to show you how to actually create a value chart, and you're going to see how that relates to creating form throughout the course of this week. So I'm going to switch over to my document camera here, if it lets me. Okay, so value. Let's start off by writing the word value. Value is the lightness and darkness in a drawing or a picture. I'll just say a work of art. Now, in order to create a value chart, I personally like to make a little rectangle underneath. You can do it freehand. You can draw it with a ruler. Sometimes rulers can actually make it more difficult sometimes if you don't know how to use it properly. Some kids just like to start drawing light to dark in a line without the borders or the rectangle, but I'm going to start with a rectangle. So to make a rectangle, let's just start with a horizontal line. Now I'm not putting any pressure on my pencil. I'm going to go below about an inch. It does not have to be perfect. We're not looking for perfection here. We're just practicing and gaining new skills. Now I'm going to close off my rectangle with a vertical, or my parallel lines, with 2 parallel vertical lines. When 2 lines are going up and down, they are called vertical lines. When they're going from like left to right or long ways, we call it landscape. That is a horizontal line. We'll go over that more. Now, whenever I have a section like this, I like to start with a line kind of in the middle. So I just eyeball it, and I lightly draw a vertical line that divides my rectangle in half, and then I try to divide the next section in half, and the next section in half. Now, some of you might want to make a value chart with 5 areas. So what I do in this case is I either add another little box on the end or another little box in front of them. So it's just a little square, okay? Now, when we create value, we label the value from a 1 to a 5 in my art class. And the 1 is significant because it tells you the lightest value. So number 1 is our lightest, number 2 is the next lightest, okay, or a little bit darker, I mean. 3 would be our middle value. Whenever you're creating form, you want a light, medium, and dark value, okay? We're going to go to 4 and then to 5. Now, before you get started on your shading, when you have one of these 6B pencils, the 6 signifies how soft the lead is, and the B also signifies that. So basically, the higher the number, the softer the lead. Now, I haven't seen a whole lot of pencils over a 9. I'm sure they're out there, but 6B is what I like to recommend students to use because it gets your value very dark, but it also can be controlled better than maybe a 9 or something. Now, excuse me, I would say the lower your number, and sometimes you'll see an H next to the pencil, that's the harder the graphite was pushed together. So think of it as a compression. When you push something together really hard like graphite and you go to draw with it, you get a really light effect. Excuse me. Now, when you don't push the graphite together quite as hard, it comes off on your paper easier, so you see it more. Now, you don't want to use this in your 1, 2, 3, and maybe not even in your 4. You want to save this for your darkest values, your number 5s. So I'm going to just hold on to it or put it to the side for now. Now, your regular school pencil is a 2, I think it's a number 2, yeah. Wooden pencils are important to use. Mechanical pencils are very hard to control. They're hard to blend. So if you don't have a number 2 pencil, that was one of the requirements in my syllabus. So make sure to go get one. So in the 1, I leave it blank to start off. You'll see why in a minute. For the number 2, I don't put any pressure on my pencil. I'm just lightly making these little hatch marks, okay? And it's kind of hard to see right now, but if you look close, you can see light horizontal lines. Now, I'm going to move over to the 3, and I'm still not going to put any pressure on that pencil, but I'm making my horizontal lines closer together. This is going to make my value look darker. Just like in a printer on a computer, computer printers use little dots. They're called pixels. Same thing, yeah, on the screen. The closer those dots are together, the darker or more vivid the image is going to be. That is the same thing with putting our horizontal lines close together. Now, I'm going to move over to my 4. This is where I want to start putting a little bit of pressure. So I just push on my pencil and I continue those hatch marks. And again, I'm going to move over one more, and I could start with my number 2 pencil because you can definitely get a 5 with your number 2 pencil. You just have to be patient with it. However, if you have a 6B pencil, you can use that. Just make sure to try to stay in your lines. I kind of lightly shade. Maybe you want to go in a circular motion. It's okay if you use a little bit different technique than I do. But in the end, we want to kind of smooth out our lines. Now, if you don't have a Q-tip or a blending stick, you could definitely use your finger to blend, but just keep in mind when you blend with your finger, you have natural oils on your skin that get on the paper. So if you make a mistake and try to erase, it's really hard to erase those natural oils. All right? So I will use a blending stick because that's what I have. Like I said, Q-tips work great. And if you have a dollar store close by your house, that's a great place to get Q-tips. So I start in the number 2. Oh, by the way, if you've been using your blending stick and it gets kind of dirty, it's always a good idea to take a scrap paper, which I don't know if I have. I'm just going to do it on here. I'll do it here so you can see it. And just kind of wipe off any extra graphite, okay? And then I start in my 2 with a circular motion, and I just blend. And I pull a little bit of that graphite to the left. Now, you want a different lightness in each number or each box. So right now I have a lighter value in the 1 than the 2. I'll move over to the 3. Now I want this 3 to be a little bit darker than my 2. and a little bit lighter than my 4. Right now, it looks pretty much the same as that 2. So, there's 2 resolutions. You can either darken up your 3, or you can use your eraser and lighten up your 2. I'm going to use my pencil and kind of add a little more pencil to that 3. And I will use a circular motion to blend my value. That's better. And then the 4, same thing. Circular, circular, circular motion. I just like a circular motion. You don't necessarily have to do that yourself. Ooh, that's not dark enough. I mean, it is, but with the camera, it looks a little lighter. So I'm going to darken it up for you. Darken it up. And now we got our 5. That's our darkest value. Now, I don't want to make this video too long for you, so I'm going to wrap it up. But your assignment is to make your own value chart. And now, with art, like anything, like sports, with math, with reading, with anything you want to get good at, you really need to practice a lot. So the more you practice, the better you get. Challenge yourself to see how smooth you can go, or how you see if you can just gradually go from light to dark without these lines. Maybe underneath you, like practice going light to dark. After you finish your work, take a nice clear picture of it. Make sure you have the definition in there and the numbers, and it should at least have one chart that has light to dark. If you want to show me other ones, I love that. Take a photo of it, upload it to your first assignment of the week, and you're done for the day. And then tomorrow we're gonna do some basic form. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I look forward to seeing you soon.